The Amtrak Auto Train. Yes, this is a two-part series on the Amtrak Auto Train, and it is meant to be an all-encompassing video from the time I got my tickets until I got off the auto train. Now, this is part two of where I basically cover just from getting on the train until I arrived just south of Washington, D.C. The first part covers getting tickets till I actually get ready to get on the train, and I learned a lot of stuff. Now, I got a lot of comments and questions on the first one, so what I'm actually going to do is include a lot of those after the video, and then after that, I'll give my summary of what I actually thought and all the high points that I may have missed. Thanks a lot for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson, and welcome. I'm currently down here in the Villages, Florida, a 55 and over retirement community, and that's generally what this channel is all about. My journey through the villages and things you may want to know about retirement and Central Florida, and every once in a while, I venture outside the bubble, as we call it, and through your comments and questions and suggestions, actually, you kept asking me, how come I haven't taken the auto train? Have I taken the auto train? Since you know I drive a lot up and down 95 all the way up to Philadelphia. Well, I finally decided to take it, and it was an adventure, that's for sure. And I figured I might as well grab my camera and go along and try to learn everything I could about the auto train and regurgitate that information back to you so that you maybe won't make as many mistakes or any of the mistakes that I made. Now, I did pretty good. I had one big goof up, and you'll find out about that on this one. This is part two. Part one actually covers from Sanford, Florida at the Auto Train Station. And it covers from there until the time I just about stepped out onto the platform to catch the train. The second part, this part, will actually cover from that point, getting on the train in Sanford and going all the way up and getting on my way on 95. Now, I use QR codes a lot, so you may have already seen one to subscribe, and I will put the QR code for the first video right here. So if you want to watch the whole thing in sequence, I suggest you go back to watch that because all the suggestions and everything are in sequence along the whole trip. With that said, thank you so much on part one for all the comments, suggestions, and questions. I'm actually going to go through those on the back end of this video, and then I will actually cover a lot of the things, anything that I think I forgot afterwards, and rifle right through a lot of the highlights. So please, if you have any comments and questions, put them down below. I thank you so much for subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Feel free to, I'll put a share link right below this, right below the immediate description, so that if you want to share it for people to learn, you can do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on part two, and I guess you'll get to see my one boo-boo that cost me some sleep. Here's what you'll be greeted with when you exit the door, and it has all the train numbers on it. This is 52, so this is me going north, remember, 52 train. And for going south, you'd be on the 53 train. My train number was 5248 because I was going north. You don't want to look on the side of the train for the number. That 32101 is not the number. That's the physical number of the car itself. The train number, kind of like a flight number, is up on this little post. Kind of cheesy a little bit, but on the train, it's in this little window right here, and this is my actual sleeper car, 5248. This is my car right here, 5248, and I'm hoping I don't regret it because they're just docking the engine up and it's right next to my car, but I'll let you know. At least we know the engine's running, right? Oh boy. This is going to be an adventure. We started boarding at 3:16. Heed my warning, you need to have that paper boarding pass. Do not lose that. It shows that I'm in room 10 and 5248. That's what they need, not your phone. How's it going?
Hey, good. So you have room 10. Just top of the step 2, gonna make it right.
Right? Okay, thanks. Okay, now the tricky part. This is tricky. There we go. Boom. It's actually slightly larger than I thought. I thought that I would take a tour of the train.
Rusty.
Yeah.
Take care, dude.
Wow, who would have thunk that I would have met somebody that watches the channel on the train? Just kind of check it out because I had no idea. But this is my bathroom to the right that I use. And this is the coffee station for this train. This train has half roomettes on it and half bedrooms. So the bedrooms are right behind me here, but I'm trying to show exactly how thin or narrow the hallways are. So if somebody comes out, you got to kind of pass them or move into another room. But this is one of the bedrooms, and in the bedrooms, they have a toilet and a shower in there. If you use the phone number I talked about earlier to get your ticket, you can actually request rooms that are joined together if you have a family or a group. So check that out if you give them a call. As you can see, it wasn't very long and there was a lot of people boarded on the train. To get through the doors, you can either kick the bottom or you can tap the top to get in there, and a lot of the trains have train names. You may want to take a picture of your car number so you can remember exactly where it is. This is a sleeper car that is pretty much exactly like the train that I'm on. Don't forget there's downstairs too. And these are the full bedrooms, and I kind of run into folks.
Yes, but
Oops. Oh, that's okay. If you just take a half a step
Yeah,
in, I'm good.
Oh, you're in.
You don't have to do anything.
3 of you.
Okay.
You're okay? Oh no, you keep going.
Well, no, I'm not going in there.
Oh.
no, I said you cut stuff
Oh,
in
Yeah,
here.
take a half step in.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm not going in there. I don't blame you.
No, I'll go in there later.
Smooth trip.
People funny friendly. Now this is a deluxe car, and this is all the larger rooms. And in the middle, they've got a pretty nice coffee station right here. And as you can see, it looks a little larger, but I think it kind of has the same stuff in it. You can get ice and water and coffee all the time. So that's kind of free to you. And the coffee machine makes stuff one right after another. This is the lounge. And this is where you go kind of to relax, watch the world go by, get good Wi-Fi, or, not real good. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay. Getting ready for us? And then on this side is actually, you'll see later, this is where I had breakfast. That's breakfast is already kind of set out there to the right. And all the tables, everything is really clean. It's older, but it's really, really clean. I have to say that. I wanted to give this a second because there were some folks in there doing work. I didn't want to bother them. I just want to get a picture before people come in.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Looks nice.
Thank you.
And this is where I'll be dining in a couple hours. Don't know who I'm dining with. I'm sure I'll be sharing a table with somebody since I'm kind of by myself. We're going to find out. Everybody seems really nice, though.
Thank you. I'm gonna open it for you, okay?
Thank you. And this is a lounge car. I'm sure I'll be spending a little time in here. I see breakfast right there.
And right here, we're coming up on the coach car. I actually had to stop there because people are sleeping, but the coach recliner seats are really big. They're nice. They're bigger than airline. They recline. They got a lot of foot room. But what I figured I'd do is show you that I was on this train right here. This is 5248, and these are all the rest of the cars. Pretty long train, and in this shot, there's 3, but I think we actually had 4 coaches on the back, so we only looked into the first one. There's still 4 more trains on the back of that, but here are the cars all lined up waiting to pick up the cars, and then those engines at the top, move them around and hook it all up, and you take off out the top of the frame. Don't forget, I'm still in the car waiting for the train to get going. The engine has turned off, which is, as we know, is right there. If I haven't told you already, it's right next to me. So I imagine eventually we're going to come back and hook up with the cars where I hope my car is. And the room, I have to say, for first impressions, is larger than I thought. You can see the bunk is right up here, and it looks like there's a couple of positions. So I'm going to see whether I can actually put this halfway. And as you can see right here, I have my luggage, so I can split it open maybe and leave it up there. I brought an extra pillow, but I'll tell you, these pillows feel pretty good, but I have one of those weirdo foam pillows. But I'm going to go through a couple of things around the cabin. There's other people who have done a ton of things on the cabin. So, and just kind of ad hoc go through them as I see them, and hopefully they piece together when I get all done. And that's about it. I imagine we're going to get going here. But I did ask Steve about the engine up there being so close. And he says, you do some rocking. There's a lot of things going on with the train. So I guess we're going to find out. And I got a 6 o'clock meal time. There was enough people on board where I think they did 6, 7, and 8 o'clock. And I took 6 because I really wanted to try the steak. Supposedly they got a good flat iron steak. And they were letting people walk all over the place until we get ready to take off here at 5 o'clock. I have heard stories about them leaving early. Actually, 40 minutes I heard, leaving early once. So I guess if everybody's on board that's paying customer, they get out of here. So don't be the one that holds the train up. But it was just about 3:15 that they started letting everybody on board. And I'll let you know what happens next. Then we'll start going through the cabin as soon as we get going. And then at 6 o'clock, get to eat. But I do have a surprise cocktail for myself to sit back and watch the train. And it's really kind of fun because the people in the cabin across were really friendly. And the next guy up, Bob or Bill, I can't remember his name, was real friendly. He had been on it once before, nice guy. So that's one thing I've learned when I took a train before was that usually people that are on trains are pretty happy to be on trains. So still wondering whether I'm going to get any sleep or not. All right, I made my little nest up, so to speak, here for the ride, and I'm going to kind of show you what I did. But here are the bottles of water that they give you. And this is just a little table that comes out right here. And brought myself some beef jerky and I have my charger for my phone. But what I did was I took an extension cord and ran it up because there's only one outlet. So I have the extension cord and I can charge the batteries for my cameras. I can plug my phone in, and it's still another plug left over. And my bag is right over there. That's my just my personal bag. And down below, something that's kind of important that I don't see too many people talk about is kind of like flip-flops or whatever, because I'm going to give it a go and try a shower tomorrow morning. I may even try one tonight, who knows. But I got my 2 containers full of ice here with water. I got some mixed nuts for happy hour. I brought my thermos for coffee in the morning so that it'll keep my coffee warm so I don't have to keep traveling over. And I'll show you what this is for a little later on. I got my dinner time is at 6 o'clock, and that means kind of head up there at 6 o'clock for the 6 o'clock dinner bell, and you order your food up there. I'm going to try to have the steak. Supposedly it's actually pretty good. Now, with that said, I got everything set up down here. There's also some towels up there. It doesn't look like very big towels, but I think there's towels down below. There's actually washcloths. But this is what folds out into a bed. So this end comes out this way towards me, and then this side comes out right here and folds out. But up here, being by yourself, since nobody's going to sleep up here, I can take this, and this actually holds halfway right here, and I can do this, bring it all the way down, and this is the second bunk up here. But what I did is split my bag open and put it up here, so I have my little night bag. And believe it or not, I still have that bag from when I used to fly U2. I used to take that on the plane with me, and some more camera gear. And this is what they use to for the downstairs bunk. When they put these 2 pieces across, right here, that's what makes up the bed. So anyway, I don't hear anybody around here. I hear the engines firing up back there. It is just a little after 5, and I thought it might be time for a cocktail, a little old-fashioned, and I pre-mixed this up a little bit, and that, and a few nuts. I guess I'll have to skip the cherry and orange this time. And you kind of have to put things down keep them from sliding all over the place. But besides that, looks like it's going to be a pretty nice cocktail hour. I'll have to stop down the lounge and see what everybody else is down there enjoying themselves.
You can expect to arrive in Lorton tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now, during the course of a trip that's over 850 miles, there is times that we will stop or slow down. We do have time built into our schedule for these, and we'll not get on the PA for them unless it's going to be something of a lengthy delay. At this time, I'd like to acquaint you with our contests and some of the services available. We have a total of 39 rail cars today. This includes 13 passenger cars and 26 auto carriers. And we're being powered by a General Electric 4,250 horsepower diesel locomotive. In its entirety, the Auto Train averages nearly 3/4 of a mile in length, and we are the longest passenger train in the United States. Today we have 6 sleeping cars, and in between the 41 and 40 sleeping cars, where you'll find the dining car and the lounge car for that portion of the train. And today we have 4 coach cars, and next to the 10 coach cars, where you'll find the cross-country cafe. And this is where you can purchase a variety of entree items, snacks, and beverages. We have a total of 418 passengers today. This equates to 254 in our coach section and 164 in our sleeping car section. And in our auto carriers today, we're carrying a total of 218 of your vehicles. 30 of those are priority vehicles, which paid to be the first vehicles off tomorrow. And we have no motorcycles today. Our crew today consists of 20 onboard service personnel, 2 conductors, and 2 engineers. We will change out our conductors and engineers at our halfway point in Florence, South Carolina, but the onboard service crew will be with you throughout the trip. Again, this is a non-smoking train. If you are caught smoking, then we will have to take matters from there, but this is a non-smoking train, so please do not smoke. We again ask that all children under the age of 13 be accompanied by an adult for their safety and no running on board. And again, shoes must be worn whenever leaving your seats or your accommodation. Meal service for our sleeping car passengers tonight is scheduled for 6 and 8 p.m. Please wait for an announcement for your dinner seating before coming to the dining car, as the attendants will be busy getting things ready prior to inviting you in. Our seatings are usually called on time, and on behalf of Crew 5, your conductors and engineers, welcome aboard and thank you for choosing the Auto Train.
And once happy hour's over, I ran down to grab my dinner. Here's a picture of the menu and the dining car. I ended up getting a salad that was probably about what you expected with vinaigrette on it. I managed to sneak in my old fashioned since they didn't have anything like that. And I ordered the flat iron steak and I ordered it medium rare. And the guy across from me looked like he was having a hard time cutting through it, but it came well done. And I asked for something else because it just didn't seem right. They were very nice, and within seconds, they brought out the chicken for me, which was really good. The guy next to me had it. I enjoyed that. You know, it wasn't Ruth Chris, but it was what it was. And these are the folks sitting across from me. We're all having a good time, chuckling, laughing, finding out a little about each other. But here's a picture of the menu. One thing to think of is there's nothing really gluten-free on there, too exciting. And there's one vegan item. You do get a free complimentary alcoholic beverage, and dessert was really good. There's a few different choices in there. Next thing I knew, I was actually heading downstairs for a change, kind of wash my face and stuff like that. And just to the right here is where the upstairs bathroom is and the coffee. If you want more coffee, it's always there. There's always water hanging around. There's ice in there, so that was rather nice. And once again, there's those narrow steps leading downstairs. The train was a lot quieter. There wasn't a whole lot of people around. Ton of towels there for to use and that kind of stuff. On the right was the shower. There are 3 bathrooms down there. The shower is definitely got more room than the one that would be in your bedroom. Big thing is you've got to wait for the water to get all the way hot. Be patient. It could take a minute or so, but it gets pretty hot in there. The 3 bathrooms, and I went in to use the one bathroom and kind of wash my face. So to get hot water out, you actually have to hold this down for a while until you hear the hot water thing kicking in from down in the valves. So I had to hold this down for a while like that, probably a good minute or so, and then all of a sudden it kicked in like this. And then the hot water came. You can see it's actually steaming. I just wanted to kind of rinse off my face for the night, but that's how it kicked in though. When it kicks in like that, there's a tip for you. You got hot water. And then it was time to go back upstairs. And on the opposite side of the room, there are the 4 roomettes that are downstairs and the family room that is on the far side. Now, I need to say something. If you have a room downstairs, you cannot move from train to train unless you go upstairs. I also asked Steve to turn down the room at 9:30, which was the time that I was downstairs. So we're going to find out whether he actually did it or not. Here we go. And there we go. My run down to the bathroom area. So this is it. This is pretty much the way. This is pretty much the way the room is. They ask you to be quiet, not do phone calls at night without going out into the lounge area. So that's why I'm kind of whispering, because I guess that's kind of like a phone call. Anyway, I'm gonna kind of lay down. Train's going that way, and I'll let you know how the sleep is in the morning. To tell you the truth, Steve was great. Literally came by I said 9:30 to turn the bed down, and he was literally here at 9:30, like clock ticking. Anyway, good night. That is the horn blowing, and I'm not sure whether you can hear that, but it's probably a good thing you can't see me because I'm in bed, but that horn goes on all night long. And there you have it, pretty loud, but I guess if you put earplugs in, that helps. It's 6:46 in the morning. You can still hear the train whistle blowing. I'm going to probably be hearing that for 3 or 4 days. Nice little sunrise, but I am going to go get some breakfast, get myself some coffee, get my day started, that's for sure. I did get a shower. That was a little bit of an experience, kind of wobbling around. I'll talk about that also, a little more detail, but it did feel good to take a shower and I guess wake up in the morning now for some coffee so I can, whoa, that's bright. The coffee is just about what you'd expect. It actually comes out of this machine right here, so it's kind of brewed fresh every time you do that. This is the continental breakfast, which is free to everybody. There's some cold cereal there, bananas, and I went over to look at the juice, and it looks like orange juice and a little 2% milk. And I thought this was it for breakfast, but little did I know I had something else waiting for me. I had no idea that there's actually a hot breakfast. And there it is right there.
Good morning, how are you?
So,
You're
that
dining
was
in or
completely
grab and
new.
go?
Thank you. That's it. Here's something that's fun. As you approach Ashland, they'll tell you, or you can see it on your Google Maps, you can actually scan, use this code right here to get the link, but you can watch the Auto Train live going through Ashland if you have the app set up on your phone. The view going back and going into the Washington area and Virginia was really nice. So you kind of get yourself set up with a nice cup of coffee and get ready to see some views. And the conductor comes over and actually starts talking to you and tells you what some of the areas are. So sit back, relax, and enjoy that last part of the ride coming into Virginia. We are getting down to the last few minutes of this. Just crossed over into Maryland. Kind of a nice view to end the trip with. Sit back and have the rest of my coffee, kind of relax. And we'll see how this offload goes. Once we stopped, the engines were disconnected, took about 15 minutes sitting there, and then we were allowed off the train to go into the station and wait for our cars. One thing I point out is that they have these little carts all over the place that you can use, and you can pretty much take those everywhere. Sitting here waiting for the train to come with my car. I feel like I'm at Vegas waiting to find out whether it's really going to be there or not. But we're going to check out and see how this is done really quick. Right now, let's see, timing wise, it is 11:22. So it's been, I don't know, 45 minutes so in an hour or so. We'll see how long it takes from here. And the train, you can see it just coming over there. And I imagine that those cars right there are going to be the first people that paid to get their cars out early. Mine's not on there. There's 4 of these cars out here, and I was just talking to this gentleman down there. It's working on the trains and getting them ready. And he says there's still another one coming. So mine's out there somewhere. It's been an hour so far. But something that was really interesting was there was a guy going around with a golf club, and he's tapping the wheels, and you'd hear the ping, sounded like a bell going off. And what he's doing is, I asked him, and he said he's just checking to make sure the brakes are released. And they can tell by the sound when they ping the wheel whether the brakes have released or not. So kind of cool. And if I didn't say it before, although he just said it's not an exact science, when you come there to put your cars on, the first ones that are in are usually the last ones off. So I have a feeling I could be towards the end of this car or maybe the next one that comes in. We'll find out. There it is, my car coming off. All right, 148. Hooray! Gotta love it. Okay, in we go to go get it. Do I look excited? Yes, I am excited. So it took about 2 hours to get my car. This is the inside of the train station. Everybody just kind of hangs out, relaxes. They've been through this before. I hadn't. I had no idea how long to wait. But it's kind of fun to watch the trains get loaded on and off. This is outside the station. There were people kind of hanging out in the sun, relaxing, that type of thing. But if you look down at the end down here, the line of people getting ready for the next train are sitting there waiting to get checked in. Remember I said be prepared to get in and out of your car quickly?
You gotta get out of this lane. We need this lane.
Okay.
Sorry, but we need this.
I'm getting yelled at.
We need this lane.
A good yelling. Oh, okay. So anyway, as you can see, it's all clogged up. You gotta be ready to go. And I'm ready to go. I'm getting out of here. I'm happy. Can you see my smile? Weird thing is they do not, they don't check anything. There's no ID or anything like that, or like, is this your car? You just go pick it up. So I guess it's pretty well taken care of though. Well, I just figured it out. If you need to do some repacking or whatever, you can just kind of make a right-hand turn when you get out of the lane and come over and do it. That's what I'm gonna do. Here is the line already. This was me just 24 hours ago down in Florida. Cool, I guess. And away I go. If you're coming up here and you got to get on 95, which a lot of people do, it's right here. I mean, it's right in front of you. You get right on 95. Really nice. When you're in the loading process, make sure, no matter which way you're going, you have a full tank, because I would hate to be hunting down gas right now. Don't go away yet, because we're going to go over a lot of the comments and questions you guys sent in on the first video. And if you haven't watched it yet, you may want to go over and watch that. The link's right there. And if there are more comments and questions from this one that I think are really good, I will actually go over those in a later video. So if you're subscribed, you'll get notified on those. Also, I'm actually going to cover some of the pricing that I saw to show you what a big variance there is as far as pricing goes on different types of rooms over a specified period of time. And to start off comments and questions, don't forget that in that video, the lady, when I called her up, actually said, don't be afraid to call back to check on the prices to make sure they haven't gone down, because they will honor those. Let's go ahead and get started on the first one. Here we go, first question. And let me say thanks again to all the people that wrote all the comments and questions. If you go over to the first video, you'll be able to see a lot of these on there. And if there's a bunch more, I will incorporate those into my next questions and answers type of thing. If you're subscribed, you'll get notification of it. But Victoria wrote, these are a good question. Can you lock your car when you are traveling? And who holds on to the keys? Well, no, you can't lock your car. Once you, like when you saw in the video, once you drop your car off, it goes in there and it parks there, and that's it. They have the keys. I wouldn't put your $5 million diamond necklace in there. That's for sure. But the whole thing, I felt fairly secure, and all the reading I did, I didn't see a bunch of theft stuff. If anybody's heard of it or knows about it, for sure, not just what you've heard, please put it on there. I'd kind of like to see the article of some of the problems people had. So they hold on to your keys, and then when you come back up, you have the number. They drop the car off, and you get in the car and go. As you can see, it was pretty quick. Things are moving along fairly fast. And the second part of that question was, how far is TV, which means the Villages, from the train station? So I'll throw a map up here, and you'll be able to see that it is about an hour. I gave myself an hour and a half to get there, and I got there almost an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 12 minutes. But as everybody knows, the Villages is so large that it depends on where you're living in the Villages. But anyway, that's it. Thanks a lot, Victoria, and on to the next one. This is kind of a multi-part question and kind of interesting. It's also got some pricing in it too. Dan wrote, is the cost $103 per person for 2 people? You're going to see in a second. I'll answer that because I can put some prices up here. But the second part of it is, if you are in coach, can you walk around during the trip? Yeah, you can walk. Oh, getting some lightning and thunder out there. You can actually walk all over the train. There's no restrictions that I know of. If you're in coach, you can't eat in the seated dining car. There's a special cafe car and stuff like that you can sit in and eat. But it's really nice. Has a lot of food and stuff in there. Now, I'm going to put up some pricing here for tickets, and I'm going to show you about a week out from when I actually put this together. And take a look at this, because a week out, which is kind of like about what I bought it at really quick, a coach seat is $223. And a private room, the cheapest one, which is a roomette, is $765. Now, if I jump out just about a month from that on the same day of the week, it's $75 for coach and $572 for a seat. Now, if I jump out even further, and I actually went out to November 27th, which is also a Wednesday, coach is now $95 for a seat, and a private room, the cheapest roomette, is $361. Ooh, I don't know whether you guys can hear that, but we got some good lightning and thunder going on out there. Now, if you click on the link, you can see that's for a roomette, which is $361. The bedroom is $575. So now the bedroom's actually cheaper than a roomette was at $760 something a week out. And the family room, which is, remember, it is downstairs, and it's more like a set of 4 bunks in there, that family room, but that's $613. So there you go. Those are some prices on there. Remember, you can walk all around. And thanks a lot for Dan for that. That was a good question, and glad I got a little bit into pricing. But remember, they always change the prices. I thank people that have ridden on the train before, leaving comments. I really appreciate it. Renwright, let's see. Rusty, thanks for the info. We have taken the Auto Train a couple of times. And one thing to mention is if you ride in coach, you cannot eat in the diner car eat dinner in the diner car. It's only for those who get rooms, sleeping rooms. Yeah. So you can walk all over the place. The thing is when they are seating for the meals for dinner, to get in there, you need to have a little ticket, and that ticket has a seating time on it. And if you do have a seating time, you don't want to go there ahead of time because they're not going to let you in, but you won't get into that room until you hand them the little ticket with a number on it. So definitely true. We also, let's see, we've done the coach and brought sandwiches, which would make sense. And like I said, I bring stuff thinking that you were going to get delayed out there. We also bring a bag with blankets and pillows, and if the train isn't full and there are two of you, one person can go to an empty seat and stretch out. Yeah, that's true. I actually saw some people stretched out on various seats, but also keep in mind, I had talked to one of the attendants, and they said, well, because I was in 5248, and the last time they rode that train, they had pulled 5248 off or another train off because they didn't need the people. So good point. Thanks a lot for the suggestion. On to the next one. This one actually a lot of people have addressed, and JT Hooper, I guess it is, 1963. We take the Auto Train back. We took the Auto Train back in the early 70s when I was a little boy. I clearly remember watching the movie Man from La Mancha and having Kellogg cereal in a built-in plastic bowl. Yeah, I remember this also. And these were the days when cardboard boxes that never made good bowls. That's true. And DLN wrote, thanks a lot for saying this. Unfortunately, I do not have movies anymore. Apparently, the movie companies got ridiculously expensive. The last movie we saw was Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan in 1999-98. Hey, yeah, you know, if you look at the airlines and stuff like that, a lot of them have taken movies out because people bring their own movies right along on their laptop. They can just download stuff ahead of time. So it really doesn't make any sense for them to pay all that money out for probably a couple of people. Not only that, they need to have a car or whatever to watch it. So yeah, good point, but a couple of people have stated that. RS wrote, you always give great details. Thank you, RS. I didn't realize that the shuttle service into Sanford or the road coach at the train station, about those two things. I'm looking forward to part 2. Thanks, Rusty. Yeah, that was, I didn't know there were food trucks out there. Like I said, that food truck that was there looked like there was a bunch of people getting food, but it was a little on the slow side because I don't think that they have a cafeteria, so to speak, at Sanford. I do believe, maybe somebody can put this in the comments, appreciate it. Up in Virginia Station, they do have a train station up there. But I'll tell you what, as far as the shuttle goes, if I had known about it ahead of the game, I would have gotten there, been one of the first ones in there, gotten through the gate around 12:30, whenever they'll let you in, and actually taken the shuttle down. I would have got my dinner ticket right away so I could get the time that I wanted. Then take the shuttle down. They run every 15, 20 minutes or whatever. You can call them. There's 2 phone numbers in there. Call. Have a nice lunch. You've already got your ticket. Come back up and relax. Be there by 3. Like I said in the other video, part 1, which you should have watched, is that I called the guy up and talked to him, said they've been doing it for 17 years. They've never missed a train. So I'd feel kind of good about that your car wouldn't be off and arrive up in Washington without you. So thanks a lot, RS. That's a good statement. This one's got a lot of good information in it, and thanks a lot for DLN for answering a couple of the other questions for folks. And she, I'm not sure what it is, wrote, there's a fantastic German restaurant in Sanford. Well, if you could put down in the comments what the name of the restaurant is, or if anybody else has any fast in and out restaurants that they've taken the shuttle, that'd be great information for some folks, I think. We have been taking the train on and off since 1998. Have had some awful delays where they ran out of food. It seems like the biggest problem that I hear about, when you get on this train, you got to go and say, hey, it's an adventure. You got to sit back and get laid back. And if you're going to go in and start comparing, well, this is the exact price of driving it down, and this is, you don't. It's just kind of a thing. You hang out, you go take the train, you meet some people and stuff like that. The biggest problem seems to be delays in the train because it can wreak total havoc. And I would say bring some extra food just in case, bring some extra entertainment if you got it, and make sure you got plenty of battery life on your phone. But this is interesting. But if your train is ever delayed, is ever very delayed, I think is probably a key thing. And you write a letter, you may get a free trip. Now, this is what they experience, but I don't take that as gospel. One year, the Christmas delays were so bad, they didn't get in till the next day. Instead of 10 o'clock in the morning, they got in 11 o'clock at night. We always pay for priority, get our car out early. And I don't think we had a full boat as far as the train cars go. So it could have been another, if I was in with all the cars in there loaded to the max, it may have been a good another hour if you've done that. And if you were doing it in bad weather or something, I wouldn't want to be sitting around there all that time. So it might be worth it. But realize there's only 30 cars that get that, quote, privilege. By the time we got to our house in West Palm Beach area, it was 2 a.m. Christmas morning. Sorry to hear about that. That's a bummer. We always get the bedroom with its own bathroom. Hey, I've heard both ends of this. Some say that being in that bathroom, they don't even use it. They go downstairs and they use the one downstairs because it's big enough. Some people are afraid it's a little too dirty. I don't know. I had a pretty good experience when I went down there. I think it didn't look like there was hardly anybody in there, maybe one person the night before, but that's it. I was up kind of early in the morning, so you got to kind of make that decision yourself. Love to hear of any comments about any smells or anything like that. If they've got a bedroom with its own bathroom, how that goes. I've even heard some people said, well, we just use the bathroom for our own personal use. We just go outside and use the one that's out in the hallway. And they always get the steak option. If you've heard in this one, the steak option didn't work out too well with me. I ended up getting the chicken. That's just the way it goes. A positive is that you're saving miles on your car wear and tear, and probably a headache when you're going down there. 95 with all the construction now can be kind of crazy, and you're not dealing with the weather. Two things: weather can delay that train. This is some big things. Weather can delay the train. So if you're expecting some big snowstorms at the time you're going to go, expect the delays, make sure you have the app. And also heat can delay the train because of the heat is really hot coming into Florida and stuff like that. Sometimes that can slow down the trains. Anybody else that's had experiences, throw that down in the comments. I have to admit it, that I do like taking the train. Everybody should try it once. Yeah, I took it once. I think I'd like to try it again, and a few things I may do a little different, like make sure I'm not in 5248 or 5248 on that end and going the other way. It would be the other train. And big thing to take away from this is also bring snacks, be prepared. Anyway, thanks a lot, DLN. Appreciate the info. Here's a few more good suggestions again from DLN. Well, first of all, DLN writes, I tried to reply to you, but it doesn't show up. Yeah, just so anybody knows, when you write a comment, I make sure I approve everything. I read every single comment because some of them are directed directly at me, and some of them, although I get very few, it's amazing, are colorful. I'll say that. And I don't see any need to even let those go out for the trolls to be happy with. But anyway, so that's why it doesn't show up. It says near Lorton, there's an excellent little restaurant a few miles away. It is called The Secret Garden. It is an adorable little town. Cool. This is good stuff to hear. We always get a bedroom because we're senior citizens. The porter's always helpful. Yeah, I found out everybody was really nice on the train. I think you can hear that as I go through the cabin, people talking to me. And we always tip them. Yeah, that was kind of like my suggestion. If you're a decent tipper, you may want to tip beforehand. I'm just assuming that it will probably help you out. And DLN wrote, most people do tip them. They bring their own pillows because the ones that were there were very thin. I had my pillow. It was one of those foam pillows that was propped up against the other one, so I understand. They used to show movies years ago, so there's that thing about the movies again. On our next trip on the Auto Train, it might be our 20th. Wow. But who's counting? Yeah, thanks a lot, DLN. Yeah, some of the people just love it. It's an adventure for the day. And like I said, if you're going to get delayed stuff, you just sit back and kind of take it in the shorts, as they say, and relax and bring a good book. Elizabeth wrote, there's a bunch of good stuff in here. Thanks, Rusty. I took the Auto Train on the way back from my lifestyle visit. If you don't know, for the folks that don't know, In the villages here, when you come down to visit to look at it, they call it a lifestyle visit. You can rent a house and they'll take you around and show you all parts of the villages. Also, if you don't know it, that's what this channel is. There's a lot of stuff in here. So if you go back to some of my first videos, I'll put the link down to the first videos or my channel. It's my first call to the villages. That's how this whole channel got started and is expanded into this. Kind of a last minute decision. My mom needs a handicap room. So the other thing about the handicap accessible room is it's downstairs. So to get from train to train, you need to go upstairs. So if you can't get upstairs, you have to be prepared, I guess. You can have your meals delivered to you to utilize that downstairs and not be able to go from train to train. We arrived around 1 as she's talking about booking, and it was crazy as the train was late from before. So a lot of these people are backed up. You got people moving back and forth, and getting the tickets can be a little bit of a mistake. And she says she brought a large cooler. That was a mistake, but you can probably bring a little one. And she tried to sleep in the top bunk. You have to be a contortionist to get up there. I would have to agree there. I didn't bother to go up. It is hot and claustrophobic. Next time, I think we will just leave the seats in the seats and don't do the beds, I guess. I don't know. Many people have said that if they are traveling with 2 people, they do the 2 roomettes across from each other. I've heard that instead of getting a big room, they will actually get a roomette across from each other. So you have one on each side of the train, gives you the nicer lower bunk. You got some room to store some things up top. It could be cheaper, as you saw by the pricing of the other ones. Prices can really vary back and forth. And the cool thing is during the day, you can, if you want to see any views and stuff like that, you got windows on both sides of the train, but you'd probably have to need to call ahead of time to coordinate that. Great stuff. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth, for writing that. Bunch of good information to talk about in there. Mindy writes, so we have taken the train a few times, Lorton to Sanford. One time I had to fly down, 2 cars, bunch of stuff going down. I took it with my husband and daughter with 1 car. For us, it has always been a good experience. We always just had a coach seats. Yeah, I'm really surprised about, there's a lot of people. I mean, they'll get up to 4 of those large train cars with coach seats full sometimes if it's during the busy season. And if you think about that, that's the fall and spring, I would think, with people going back and forth, snowbirds and that kind of stuff. People pack up blankets from the overhead to add more, tack up blankets to the overhead to imagine. I guess they can kind of give themselves, make their own little bedroom in there with their blankets, I guess. I didn't see that, but I'm sure people do it to try to get some privacy. The seats are so generously sized and lay completely flat. Yeah, they seem like there's a lot of room, so it's not like an airline. There's a decent amount of room on there. And she says, bring a blanket and a pillow in your train bag. It's a lot cheaper, I guess, if you don't get a room unless you got a bunch of people. We'd so do it again, considering it for this fall. And it sounds like she's had pretty good experiences. Like I said, she's got to take the good with the bad and sit back and relax with the flow. Elizabeth wrote, great job, Rusty. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. Would like to know your advice on location of a roomette on each type of car. Well, remember, I am not a professional, but here is kind of like a schematic of the basic cars that are on the Auto Train. Now I'll explain something else besides that, but this is the type of car that was on there. And if you look at it, these smaller rooms on the upstairs, I was in room 10, there's 4 rooms downstairs, roomettes. And I would think that the roomettes downstairs would be slightly noisier than the ones that are upstairs, just because they're next to the trucks on the train. And also, if you notice, 14 and 13 are butted right up against the family room. So you could literally have a bunch of kids in those rooms. So that's 13 and 14. And also, I guess that's about it. You got 11, you got the luggage rack right there. But if I had to pick downstairs, it would probably be 11 or 12 maybe. I think I'd rather stay upstairs. Now, upstairs, I could use some people's help on this one because I don't know this. I don't know that I know the answer. Rooms 2 through 10 all look the same. Room 1 looks a little bit different. Now, I heard that the attendants sometimes will stay in those room 1s. If you look at it, it's just different from the other ones. It butts up against a bathroom. You may have some bathroom noise in there. That's about it. The walls are pretty thin. I'm going to tell you that. The other thing, too, is if you're in 9 or 10, I didn't have people going in and out because I had the engine right there, but you would hear that door opening and closing, I would think, as people pass it. So I would say room 2. I mean, that's a guess. I'm going to rely on, throw some stuff in the comments. I know there's a bunch of people that would have suggestions about this, about what roomette they were in and what they experienced. So that's about it. I would think that you would hear that door opening and closing. Of course, it seems like everybody was in bed pretty much like 9:30 or something like that. And also my question is, what is different about room 1? So I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be room 2. This is going to be the last one, and it's not going to land on a good note, but I want to explain something about leaving comments, especially if you're going to leave them on this one. And I normally wouldn't put this up there, but it's a good example. And Vic Dozer, hey, I'm really sorry, but Vic wrote, we had the absolute worst experience on the auto train, and in the end, we had to get reimbursed for the whole trip, which was the only thing that went right. I'm really sorry, Vic. I really am. But hey, that's the way it is. I can sound like a jerk that way. But the reason I sound like a jerk is because you didn't leave us with anything. Nobody learned anything. Was it a mistake of theirs? Did you get on board and didn't have a room? Did it snow out, which they had nothing to do with, And so when you leave comments so that people can learn from it, i.e., it was the worst trip we ever had. There was a deer ran out onto the train and derailed it, and it all went up in smoke. Everybody got out safe, okay. And, that helps. We have an idea. Or, when we got there and they didn't have our ticket, so we couldn't catch the trip, whatever. It just to say it sucked doesn't help out anybody, and it really doesn't, I don't have an answer for it. But mine was my trip. My trip went as expected. I think I'll probably take it in the opposite direction, but I will get the ticket a little bit ahead of time, so it's about half the price. And I promise I will put all your comments and tricks to work. Anyway, just a couple more things, and then we'll be done. As you can see, I am in a different shirt. It's taken a long time to put this together and try to make sure that I have everything in it. Also got a haircut. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flash a bunch of cards up there. I'm going to run through the whole trip really quick, covering some highlights. So if you want to take some notes, just grab your phone and take some shots of these. You can keep these for notes, but of course you can always come back and look at the video for notes. I will put the chapters along the bottom. You can scrub along the bottom and just go to whatever section you like. But here goes. I'm going to run through these really quick. First one, I do want to hear about your experiences, and I'm sure a lot of people also want to hear about your experiences, not just that it was bad. Just, help people out, like you're trying to explain to them what room you may like or what happened to you on a delay, that type of thing. The comments are really welcome. Remember, relax. This is an adventure, and be prepared for delays. Bring foods, bring books. Make sure you have your meds. If you have kids, make sure you got a little way to entertain them. Some videos loaded up. Fill your car before you get there with fuel, because you're not going to want to go through that trying to hit a gas station and stuff when you get out of there. Be prepared to get out of your car when you get there, i.e., have your bags packed, have them sitting right there, all the little things you need to get, because it can go fast. For me, it went right away. And also on the other end of that, be prepared for delays. In other words, if that train's delayed coming in the other way, you may be sitting in lines outside of the station waiting for them to get ready to board. Moving on, and like I said, take pictures of these for your notes. If you're going to catch a plane or you're going to Disney at your final destination, you may want to think about leaving a day early and getting a hotel room at your destination. Sit back and relax, because you should arrive there at 10 in the morning, right? But if you're delayed, you may be a few hours late and stuff. The last thing you want to do is miss a plane or miss time at Disney. Do not compare dollars to dollars and time to time. I mean, you do whatever you want to do, but like I said, this is an adventure. If you're going to look, well, it cost me this much in gas to drive and that kind of thing, just sit back and relax and give it a shot, give it a try, and see how it goes. Remember, they're all not delayed. Mine was perfectly fine. And so now that you're armed with all the stuff from this video, you should do fine. I can't say this loud enough. If I could scream into the microphone, I would. You cannot get back into your car. You cannot get back into your car. So make sure you have your meds and anything you need for that night with you, because once that person drives away with your car and loads it on the train, you're not getting back in. They will give you a car number on a piece of paper when you go through the gate to drop your car off. They will give you a meal ticket, and they will give you a paper ticket. The phone ticket that you have on there is not what you need. You need to keep a hold of these pieces of paper, and trust me, by the time the train was done, I couldn't remember what my car was, although I can remember it now, 148. Wi-Fi is limited. It's kind of sketchy, and getting cell service was kind of sketchy. What I did do is I loaded down some shows and watched them in a very low res type thing on my phone. That seemed to work. But I would welcome some comments from people that have been on there, that have been in different cars, coach cars. I was pretty far away from the central part of the train. I was right next to the engine. So I don't know, from people that have experienced that a lot. Please comment and let other people know. Water, coffee, and ice. They're all on board, easy to get to, and you can pretty much access those. Somebody said they brought a little cooler on board, and that seemed to work out. They went and put a little bit of ice in there, but don't use up all the ice. Bring some yourself. On to the next card. Moving right along. Tickets, yes. Don't be afraid to call Amtrak. Even if you've booked your train ticket already, say on the internet or through the app or whatever, you can still call them up. You may be able to find out what car you're in. You may be able to change cars. You can change seats. And most importantly, you can check on the price to make sure that it hadn't gone down. The lady that I talked to from Amtrak, one of the last things she said to me was, "Hey, honey, check back, make sure the prices haven't gone down, because we will honor those prices." Also, while you're preparing for this, download the Amtrak app and also sign up for the rewards. You never know when you're going to travel on there again, so you might as well keep them in the bank, so to speak. You can follow the ride on the app. You can change seats on the app. You can tell, most importantly, is the train that's coming in before yours at the station you're at, is it going to be early? Is it late? Or whatever, that type of thing. And like I said, you can change seats on the app also. I got asked this question a lot. Do you need a car to actually get a ticket on the train? Yes, you need a car. That's the whole purpose of the Auto Train. Otherwise, you can take another train. Just as simple as that. You got to have a car. When you first arrive at the station with your car, one person can stay with your car. So in other words, if you get there at 12, and let's say you want to take the shuttle down to Sanford, you can arrive early, say 12 o'clock. They're not going to open up the gate most likely before 12:30, but one person can go in and get your dinner tickets, and you can wait out with the car. You could be there for a while, like I say. Things can be delayed. If you're arriving and the train's late, you could be in line with your car for a while. So bring sandwiches, bring snacks. If you have kids, figure out something you can entertain them with. Get out of the car. Only one person has to stay with the train. You can go watch the trains load, offload. Kids are always fascinated by trains, even big kids like me. Remember, when you arrive there, check-in starts at 12:30. Maybe you can put in the comments. I don't know whether it actually sometimes starts before that, but it seemed like when I was leaving, they were waiting for the other train to get off. And there were already people there waiting in line to get on the train. Maybe they were going down to Sanford on the shuttle. The last car through, don't be late, 3 o'clock. And they actually, I've heard of stories about them actually leaving very early, the train taking off, as long as they had everybody checked in and on board. Priority cars, if you want to be one of those 30, if you've signed up for that, I would kind of arrive a little, you can arrive anytime you want because you're going to be given a number for it. You've already paid for it, but you will be one of those first 30 cars off. So there's 5 trains. I think you saw it in the video. They arrive, and those first 5 cars have the first 30 cars on there, and you'll get, obviously, that costs a little extra. This is a big one, and man, somebody did smoke on the train, and man, the way that conductor was talking, I thought he was going to stop the train and kick the person off right there. There is no smoking, vaping, that type of thing on the train. You are close together, so everybody's going to know. You can't get away from the smell. That's it. The train does stop one time about halfway through in the middle of the night to change out engineers. But that's about it. I'm not even 100% sure whether you can get on or off the train there. I do know if you pre-coordinate with a dog, if you have a service dog, sometimes they'll let you off. But this isn't a real service dog environment, I don't think. You got to make your own call on that. But they are very strict about it, and they can and do warn you that they can kick you off. Tip your attendant. When I first got there, first thing I did when he came in to get my timing and ticket and all that kind of stuff, I tipped him right away right there. And it seems like most people did, and I actually got excellent service as you saw through the night. Remember, as far as your cars go, when you arrive at the station, those early cars, you get there early, chances are you're going to be the last car off. That's just the way it works. First car on, last car off. So if you want to try to time that right, you can arrive, I guess, a little late. I'm not saying to do that, but I think that the wait wasn't bad for me. I can imagine it wouldn't be all that great if the weather was horrible once you got up there. But anyway, you have to make your own call with that. When you arrive there, make sure you know that number and pay attention because they will call the car number twice, and that's about it. So if you're not paying attention, you can miss it, and your car would just be sitting out there. Like I said, pack and be ready to go and leave. You know, when you get off that train, pack everything, figure out what you need to leave, and get in there, jump, and take off in your car, and you'll be a lot happier that way, and you won't hold them up like I tried to do making this video. And believe it or not, that's about it. Here is the link if you just want to quickly jump over to the first video if you haven't watched that. And I just want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing ahead of time and all the comments on the first one. If you're going to comment on this one, there's a good chance if you're subscribed, I will do another video down the road, kind of addressing a lot of those and maybe my experience on the ride back if I decide to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for chiming in here. And if you like, please subscribe right here. And if you want to watch the next video, you can just click below and it'll take you there. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.